ideal of Islam, the majesty of pure monotheism. Before I begin, I will just say that there exist many interpretations of Islam, and I'm not claiming to have the final interpretation of Islam or of any other religion that applies everywhere, or to impose my interpretation on others. Rather, my interpretation is about what I think is a very important foundational theme of Islam. In fact, the most important foundational theme. Something that I think is important to realize about Islam when looking at it from the outside, generally, even if there does exist exceptions, and possibly disagreements with me. As might be known, Islam literally means submission. But what is it that is submitted to? In order to get to know this, we should look at the first part of the Shahada, the declaration of faith in Islam. La ilaha illallah wa Muhammadur Rasulullah. There is no God except God, and Muhammad is the messenger of God. And the important part here that I see is the first part. There is no God except God. La ilaha illallah. And Islam is the submission to the fact that this is a God that is without peer, that stands above all. In Arabic, this is called tawhid, monotheism. But it goes beyond just that word monotheism, the belief in one God. And it's a very strong emphasis on this aspect, on this ideal, this really one unique God, whose difference from everything else stands above all, and whose unique majesty stands at the center of the religion. In contrast, Christianity generally emphasizes the closeness with God, and humankind being in his image, and God being like mankind in Jesus. Islam, on the other hand, emphasizes the difference between humankind and God, and thus the grandness of his majesty in the concept of the uniqueness and absolute omnipotence of the Creator that created all, decides all, knows all, and demands recognition of this fact from his worshippers, his creation below him. God as the ultimate force, the ultimate font of everything, from which everything springs and is decided. An eternal force without beginning or end, that was never birthed or gave birth to any sons, like humanity and Jesus in Christianity. A holy, unique, supreme entity is at the center of Islam. وَقُلْ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَخِذْ وَلَدًا وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ شَرِكٌ فِي الْمُلْكِ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ وَلِيٌّ مِنَ الذُّلِّ وَكَبِّرْهُ تَكْبِيرًا. And say praise is to God, who has not taken a son, and has not taken a partner in his dominion, and who has none in authority above him out of weakness, and make big in praise his magnificence. Several verses in the Quran emphasize the uniqueness in the power of God, a power beyond mortal understanding, beyond mortal power, beyond mortal reckoning. Imagine a force of nature, a forest fire, a sandstorm, a hurricane, a volcano, or even the forces of space itself on a much grander scale. Imagine how you as a human being is so small compared to these forces, and how you are powerless and left in wonder before these forces of nature, where you are nothing. Imagine the beauty of creation, the purity of white snow, the breathless sights of mountains, the sunset, the most beautiful flowers in the lushest of gardens, the visions that capture you and your imagination and attention by their beauty. Now, know or imagine that these are nothing compared to the Creator, who controls all this, who controls everything from the smallest atoms to the greatest of stars, who made all these things, who stands above in splendor and majesty, above all infinity, and thus makes these things trite in comparison, as he made them and controls them all. This unique grandness is at the core of Islam, and it is this fact of unique grandness with no compare that is to be honored through submission to his majesty, through knowledge that you are nothing except by the will of the Creator who made you, who made your forefathers, who made you able to do your actions, a Creator that gave you the purpose of submission through worship. All the 3 to 5 prayers each day depending upon Islamic sect, all the fasting during Ramadan, all the abstinence from various things such as alcohol and pork, the following of all the various rules that exist and guides a Muslim's life based upon the actions of Muhammad and the commandments of God, all the hardships endured for Muslims to travel to Mecca during Hajj. All this is done for this one almighty, unique creator, done to submit in worship of this majesty without peer. A monotheistic view that is emphasized at the center of the very dogma of Islam, and by the very first human and Muslim in the Quran, Adam. La sharika lahu wa bidhalika umirtu wa anna awwalu al-muslimina. God has no partner, and with that I was ordered, and I am the first of the submitters. Tawhid, the monotheistic uniqueness of God, is the core of being a Muslim. Everything else follows from that. More than the other Abrahamic faiths, Islam emphasizes the unique supremacy of the Creator above every other aspect of God. This grandness, this majesty of uniqueness is why shirk, associating partners in the creation and implying that God is not unique, is considered the worst of sins in Islam. Things that take equal priority from God and His commands are in a way a transgression against the most highest of majesty, whose greatness truly is unimaginable. And this is also why certain interpretations of Islam consider images and music as an evil, an artifice that will lead people away from God, away from the uniqueness of the truth, Al-Haq, as God is referred to as, and the inheritor of all, Al-Warith, to which all will eventually come back to, as God lended His creation to mankind, so as they may worship Him, and worship His exalted power, and to whom all praise should be, as He is the source of all. And this is the ideal of Islam, the majesty of pure monotheism. Please do subscribe, as it would help the channel spread awareness about the humanities. اشتركوا بالقناة من فضلكم.